thank you. My guests tonight include that megastar of pop, Kylie Minogue, and one of our most popular and successful actors, Robson Green. Also music from a young man who's both a talented musician and a marvellous singer. He is Peter Cincotti. But first up, the man who created the nation's favourite tart, Lily Savage. Most recently, he starred in a sitcom called Eyes Down. He's also the only man I know to have won the Miss Pears beauty contest. Ladies and gentlemen, Paul O'Grady. Just clear up this business about winning the Miss Pears beauty contest.
Well, that was sort of Lily's biog. She was also Little Miss Joraglit because she was the only baby who could suck the wadding without flinching. So that's where Miss Pears came from.
So there's a kind of confusion, is there, in your life between Lily and...
Well, the edges have blurred, you see, now. Like, Lily was born outside a pub in Liverpool called the Legs of Man. And seriously, it's closed now. But she was born on a policeman's overcoat outside the Legs of Man. Consequently, they pulled the Legs of Man down and the Liverpool Empire are building an extension and they put a little plaque up saying Lily Savage was born here. Now, people have said to me in the streets, I believe you were born outside a boozer. No, they're born in a maternity unit in St. Cat's, like everybody else. So the edges do get blurred.
Yeah, but what about Lily herself? We've not seen her for a while, have we? What's happened to her?
She's doing a bit of porridge at the moment.
Is she?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, she's inside,
yeah,
is she?
Yeah, just having a rest. You know, she loves it.
And
no, she's just done a panto. Did Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs again down in Bristol, which I have to say is one of Britain's best kept secrets, Bristol. it's fabulous. Because I don't want to go, don't go to Bristol. Got there, didn't want to come home. I was looking at property in Clifton. You know, I like the place so much.
It's a nice town, and that part of the West Coast is nice. Bath and around there, it's beautiful.
But also, I think they send all the kids to charm school, because even the drunks in the streets, when they're vomiting on you, they say, I'm sorry about that. So nice. Everyone in Bristol was charming. I really loved it.
Let's catch up with you, actually, because since you were last on the show, you've done quite a bit's happened to you. I mean, you came on the show just after you had your heart attack, and we talked about all that. And you're told to take it easy. Well, it doesn't look to me like you've been taking it too easy, actually.
But you can't take it easy, can you? I can't anyway, and, you know, if I get offered work I like...
That's right.
I've got to do it,
to slow down.
What am I going to do, sit at home?
I don't know. I mean, that's a good point. But, I mean, we'll talk about some of the things you have done apart from Eyes Down. But let's talk about Eyes Down first of all. I mean, that was a good part for you, wasn't it? Because, I mean, a bit gobby, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he had great put-downs. Not as bad as me, though.
Like what?
Well, like the other day, I was out and I met this sort of ropey old queen in the streets. He went... sort of looked at me. And I'd sort of looked at him because he had bleached blonde hair. I went straight to the barber's and had my hair cut and thought, I'm going grey. I'm sorry, I am not looking like that. And he went... I remember you from the Vauxhall Tavern. And I said, well, I'm glad to see, even though your looks have faded, your memory's still intact.
Is that part of the culture you came from?
Yeah. I had aunties and my mother were very much, you know, one-liners like that.
I wonder, though, how much... I mean, there's a lot of anger in you, isn't there?
Oh, loads.
Yeah.
I wake up in the morning, I had the wrath of God.
Do you?
Oh, what? Yeah, some days I don't. Some days I wake up like... And other days, it's like I'm wading through treacle. Everything goes wrong. No matter what I do, you know, I'm thwarted.
What's the source of it? Does it worry you when you get angry?
No, I love it.
Do you?
Oh, yeah. God, not many. Yeah. In supermarkets, I'll go behind people, you know, and I say, come on, hurry up. Fucking get a life. And it just comes out. Or, you know, there'll be people in, say, I'm down Oxford Street and they're looking in the shop window and they go, isn't that lovely? And I'll go, isn't that lovely? I'm going to get punched one day.
Now, the other thing that you've done as well, which, again, I'll relate to your anger and ask how angry you get because of it. You passed your driving test.
Yeah, fabulous.
I mean, you went to this celebrity driving school thing and none of you passed it. I don't know how you actually drove in that situation with people hanging out your ear holes and things like that.
Well, there were sort of 6 cameras on the dashboard, and there were 2 up there, and then there was a van with crew following us, and behind the van were about 9 paparazzi. It was like wacky races. But then I passed on the 3rd attempt. I was determined to crack it once I got going.
Did it change your life when you...
Totally. Well, I live in the middle of nowhere. I live in Kent. You know, and I was always relying on people for lifts, or I'd ring a cab. It cost me about £90 to go to the shop. Oh, this... Seriously, I mean, it's like back and beyond. And so once I learned to drive, that was it. I mean, it's just... I can't tell you what it's like, you know, it's wonderful. I get in the car and off I go and...
That's the bonus part of it. What about the other part of it? Going back to your anger, because, I mean, if you drive a car nowadays, I mean, you've got to be a saint not to get angry at the antics of fellow road users. Do you have any particular people you shout at, or...?
I'll probably get lynched for this. No. Women in people carriers.
Oh, yes.
Oh, shut up. Shut up, you shouldn't be on the road, you're a bloody nuisance. And they have these great tanks full of kids because they're on the school run. And they're whacked off their eyeballs on Prozac and Valium. And I'm coming down a single-track country lane, you know, listening to the radio, minding my own business, and round she comes, Cruella de Vil, with a van full of progeny all screaming. And I'm in a ditch, you know, I think, God. So I went out and bought a second-hand Jeep to get my own back. And this thing's a tank, and I think, right, girls, let's see now, shall we, ladies? Baby on board? Not anymore, it's in a hedge. Yes. Don't you hate that little person on board? What, have you got a borrower on your back seat? I mean, that baby on board. So, you're a prolific breeder. What do you want me to do about it? I don't care what you've got in the back. Get out me way. You know, it doesn't make me so... Oh, there's a baby in that car. I won't speak in case I wake it up. I am a very... Because I'm a virgin, you know, I mean, at driving. I haven't been one of them for years, but, you know... And little old people with caravans going on summer holidays, doing 2 miles an hour, eating boiled sweets. And this is built up of traffic. And I think, keep your temper. Keep your temper. Do not open the window and shout euthanasia. Keep your temper. Keep your temper.
Do you manage to keep your temper?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
You also, I mean, talking about driving, you also took flying lessons.
Well, I've booked, but I...
You booked?
Yeah, I'm about to embark on that when I get a bit of time.
Why flying lessons? I mean,
because I got so fed up with people saying, have you passed your test? I mean, you get asked that, I get asked that 60 times a day. I'll be in the car and some old lady will throw herself on the bonnet. Seriously, I was coming out to Waitrose and I'm just turning out and this old woman, she landed on the bonnet, banged on the windscreen. And I thought, God, I've run over somebody. She went, have you passed your test? I said, no, this is a stolen vehicle. I'm driving without a licence, you daft old bitch. What do you think? Get out me way. So I thought, I'll have. They come up to me and they go, how's your heart? I'm still in my chest cavity, thank you. And they say, give us a kiss. And they got no teeth and all the breakfast round the mouth. And then they slip you the tongue. I mean, oh, please. I'm the gigolo of Safeways, honest to God. But, so I thought, I'll have flying lessons. So when people say to me, have you passed your test? I can say, yes, and I'm a pilot as well. That's the only reason I wanted to do that.
Do you tend to keep away from the human race, generally speaking?
I hate the human race.
You do, do you?
They got me bloody nerves. Really. No, I mean, I'm quite happy. People say, do you like living on... You know, you do interviews with journalists and they always say, he lives alone with his animals. Like I'm some sort of into bestiality in the back bedroom or something. No, you know the way they go, he lives alone, and you read it and I could cry. I think, oh, God, he sounds tragic. I mean, I've been called a recluse, which I loved. Yes. Absolutely loved. But I enjoy my own company, you know, I really do, you know, and I've got thousands of animals down in Kent.
You've had twins, haven't you?
I have had twins.
Yeah.
I have, you know, like, my cows had twins. Yeah. Dot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dot.
Yeah. And it's very rare, apparently, for a cow to give birth to twins.
Yes. And
it's even rarer for them to survive.
So you're really settled into the sort of country life?
I love it. Absolutely. I mean, I milk the cow. I go out and... I bought this milking machine off the internet. And this thing arrived, it looked like something from Ann Summers, this thing. So I went wheeling down the field with this thing in a glass bottle, and here's Dot, and she sort of looked at me. Hey, up, what's he got now? I said, now come here, Dot, and I got her udder, and I whacked these things on her udder, and she went about 20 foot in the air. And then I eventually got them all on. I said, now don't panic, Dot. You know, stroked her, give her the hay, give her a bit of food, tied her up to the fence, switch this thing on. My God, the noise. Dot's udders were sucked in like a cartoon. Every drop of milk in her body was hauled out within 10 seconds. If I'd have left it on, she'd have been nothing. She'd have been paper thin on the floor. But so I milked the cow, you know, and I shove it in the fridge and you separate it and you take the cream off and you make butter and ice cream. Of course, my cholesterol level's 10,000 now. But it's great fun. I mean,
but of course, you were brought up on a farm, weren't you? Well, not. I mean, you spent some of your childhood on a farm in Ireland. I also read an interesting thing in research about you as a young person at that time, too, about this fixation you had with Popeye.
Popeye mad.
Yeah. So how did it manifest itself? I mean, what happened?
I just loved, it still is my favourite cartoon, Popeye. I think it's the best cartoon. The old ones, you know. With
all the big biceps, the anchor on the...
I love you. And Olive had an illegitimate baby.
Yeah.
Nobody knew who the father of Olive's baby was. Was it Bluto? Was it Popeye? We have no idea. Sweet Pete, little creepy there. I was just obsessed with Popeye. I loved it. So when I was a kid, I suppose I had an eating disorder. I mean, I'm still not food mad. I can, you know, if you could take a pill, I would.
Yes.
And I wouldn't eat, you know. And because I had such a great family, great parents, instead of sitting me at a table and saying, you will eat that dinner, they'd invent games. So Radox, remember Radox bath salts? They used to come in an old plastic tub. So they emptied this tub out and they stuck a label on saying spinach. And seriously, God help them. And they used to get the plate of food, pour it in the Radox thing, could be anything, and plonk it in front of me and I'd eat the lot. But I'd have to do it like that without a knife and fork. So there'd be a fried egg, you know, 2 pieces of bacon, bit of fried bread and a bit of black pudding all sliding down. While my sister felt my arm to see the muscles, and they go, na-na-na-na-na-na, na-na-na-na-na-na. I had terrible bloody indigestion because they used to whack it down.
It's one of the radio.
I know, but I'm still Popeye mad. Still mad on it. Yeah, I love him.
Now, you're in great shape. I mean, I need to ask you how you are. You're obviously very well.
I'm better now than I've ever been.
Are you?
Yeah, before I had the heart attack, I was always tired. You know, I'd go up the stairs and I think, oh, I've had it, and all this business. And then, of course, it happened, and because I had such a massive blockage, you know, they cleared all that out and they put a little metal spring in, a stent, whatever it's called, and you're awake while they do all this. And because I was so out of my mind on morphine, it was the best night out I'd ever had. I thought I was at a cocktail party. And I'm lying on this table, sort of regaling them the story of my life and saying to the nurse, have you got an ashtray, love? And it was a slap in the mouth off the gods to say, when you get threatened by Mick Jagger to keep away from Ronnie Wood because you're a bad influence...
When did this happen?
We went to a Soil Association party.
A Soil Association?
Yeah. Well, I'm in the Soil Association because I do organic. You know, I'm into organic growing of fruit and veg and all that. But I don't. I've got gardeners, but I crack on, I do. Yes. You know what I mean? I sort of go out and kick a few things and say, that's nice, and go back in. But, so I'm heavily into all this. And we were at a dinner for the Soil Association in Ronnie's club, the Harrington. Oh, and I was told, there's 3 things not allowed on the Stones tour. Cocaine, alcohol, and you. I said, why? This is your bad influence on Ronnie. I felt like Janis Joplin. I said, how can you be a bad influence on a Rolling Stone?
Impossible, wouldn't it?
I know, but obviously I was. And so it was, I mean, I'd go out on a Thursday and I'd come home on a Tuesday. That was my idea of a good night out.
Yes. You know, now you can't do that. You don't do that.
You know, I'd wake up next to a minicab driver. Do the LEU. Oh, please. I mean, I'd never had it off sober. Seriously. It's very rude, this. What time does it go out?
No, it's all right, 10:50, you're fine.
Well, I hadn't seen. I was always out a few scoops. I've had a bit of nookie. And when I actually had to do it sober, I thought, there's no way. You are seriously joking. You think I'm even touching that thing? You've got another thing coming. Not even for money.
But this brings us to your what's called your sexual cardiac liaison officer. You have a sexual cardiac liaison officer.
When you have a heart attack, I mean, they're amazing in St Thomas's. I can't, you know, they go on about the National Health. I was looked after by National Health nurses, and they were always there. The doctor never seemed to go home. You know, they're so hard-working. They were just... I can't praise them enough or thank them enough for what they did. Because I was very angry after it happened. You know, I thought, why has this happened to me and all this nonsense? And they were constantly in monitoring me, saying, now, calm down, Paul, give me another Valium. And, you know, when you go out, they do monitor you. They're very... Because I had quite a bad one, you know. I died in the ambulance and all this, and was brought round with the things. Yeah. And they said, you know, we have a sexual cardiac liaison officer. And I said, what? You know... What, you ring them up if you want to shag? They said, no. Well, I didn't know. They said, no, they don't have sex with you. They said, but when you've had sex, you ring them up to tell them how you got on. I said, you're joking? No, we'd like to know because, you know, you mightn't be able to. To what? And I love dragging it out to get them embarrassed. I knew I got a phone call off this woman. She said, hello, Paul, it's a sexual cardiac liaison officer. I said to her, I haven't done it yet. I said, I haven't had time, I've been too busy. I said, I haven't fancied it, to tell you the truth. And I'm thinking, why am I telling this complete stranger about my sex life? So she said, well, you know, when you do it, can you let me know? So I did it and rang her up, and I said, I've done it. And she said, everything. I said, well, I said, I'll ask. I said, was it all right? Yes. No problem. Yeah, fabulous.
Well,
but it's great that they have these people.
And it's great that you've got that kind of treatment from the National Health
Oh,
Service.
wonderful. Absolutely wonderful, seriously.
Now, listen, talking about slowing down, you've got another series of the sitcom coming up.
I have.
And then you're going to do the Gen game.
I am. Yeah, I'm doing the Jan, the new host of the Generation
right. So that
game.
starts when, in the autumn time, is it?
Well, we film it this Wednesday.
Oh, do you?
We're doing a pilot. I'm allowed to say pilot. I have to say special.
Special. Yes,
Yeah.
we might use it.
Yeah,
Yeah, special.
So we're doing that, and really it's to see whether I like it as well. You know what I mean? Because
I think you'll fit it very well.
Well, we've been rehearsing, and it's been, you know, we're doing all the things with the cakes and the play at the end.
It's a fun game. The reason why people, well, the reason why people like it is because the format. It's a good format.
Exactly.
Yeah, it lasts.
You know, and there's no like naffs having rats shoved down the knickers, you know, and stuff like that. I can't bear all that reality crap.
No.
I hate it.
No.
See,
Well, there's something we'll talk about later on with our other guests as well, because it's an interesting subject, because it is swamping our television.
They've rung me up to ask me to do, you know, they said, would I like to, they're doing a programme about domestic service, and would I like to go and work a 16-hour day in the kitchens as a scullery maid?
What was your answer?
I can't repeat it on a classy show like this. Honestly, this is how it's getting. You know, to get on the telly now, we're going to have to be sucking cockroaches and all manner of...
Well, you don't have to. You're going to do the Gen game instead.
Yeah.
So well, I wish you well with that. And
Thank
the
you very
rest. And
much.
it's good to see you looking so
Oh,
good.
aye, smashing, feel it.
Paul O'Grady.
Thank you very much.
My next guest is best described as a megastar of pop. Here singing her latest single, Red Blooded Woman. Welcome, please, Kylie Minogue.
Wanna keep turning it down when this girl wants
You are fabulous.
You are fabulous, yes. And congratulations on the Grammy.
Thank you.
My word, eh?
Yeah.
And America too. I mean, let's take you to their hearts. When you go there, do you get a bit of space there, though? I mean, you have a different regard for you, I suppose, than they do here.
Do you know what? I haven't really had the time there to experience that. In the last couple of years since the success of Fever, I've just been on promo trips, so it's just go, 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 leave. But nice reception. People have been welcoming and enthusiastic.
But here, of course, I mean, you live a life in a bubble, don't you, really?
Sometimes.
Not
Not all the time. I
No.
mean, there's times when it's really difficult and you're just like, oh, I just want to go down and, you know, go and get the loaf of bread and milk and all that. But then
I can't imagine you going for a loaf of bread. Kylie with a
I
mother's
do go
pride
down
under
to
her
my
arm.
local, down to the milk bar, as we'd say in Australia. And then, surprisingly, sometimes it's beautifully quiet.
Do you ever try disguise?
I have tried a disguise once, and it was such a mammoth failure. It was really embarrassing.
What was the disguise?
I went to, this is going back probably almost 10 years. I went to the Notting Hill Carnival, and I had this long black wig on and a baseball cap. And people just said, oh, there's Kylie Minogue in a black wig. Just so not what I had planned. And I've realised that now with the public in the UK, we've known each other for such a long time. They know my size, my walk. I mean, they recognise, you can literally have a hat, scarf up to here, and people still say hi.
Do you recognise that person that the tabloid press write about?
Sometimes, yeah.
When don't you?
Well, when they're marvellously fabricated stories that I have this fabulous life. I mean, part of my life is fabulous, and it is glitz and glamour and all these amazing, sometimes absurd experiences, but not to that extreme, when it's constantly two-dimensional and is a soundbite version of what could be your life.
You described yourself, you've been described as an icon, and a quote that caught my eye was that you said, well, if I'm an icon, I'm a watery icon. I mean, what did that mean exactly?
I did say that, and do you know what? I don't really know what I meant. I just said it.
It's just a good line.
What
Just what you said.
Yeah.
No, because I'm asked often about being an icon, and particularly being a gay icon, and I guess I start to feel uncomfortable with that. I guess it's a compliment, and I don't really know what to do with it. So
Well, it defines a kind of fame, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's what it does.
But you know, fame can be fleeting, and it is.
Well, it's not in your case. I mean, you've been now, what, 17 years?
17 years.
I mean, it's a long time, that. You know, I mean, we've seen you grow up, haven't we?
Yeah.
But what about I mean, the clever thing, too, is that you kept reinventing yourself as you went along. You kept sort of up with the fashions and creating your own fashions now. But what's I mean, you're 35 now, so what's the mature Kylie? I mean, are we covering up a bit now, are we? Or what?
We are.
We are.
Yes.
We're going to go fully clothed, are we now?
Well, I'm not going to be in ski suits or anything like that. But
Or yellow pants, or...
yeah. You mean gold pants?
Not gold ones, all right.
Is that what you mean, gold
Yeah,
pants?
I do.
I think I did that, and I don't regret doing any of it at all. And I'm always very conscious of where the line is. And the line indeed keeps moving. But when I came to do the video for the first single from this album, I hadn't seen any videos in a while. So I watched the TV, went through the music stations, and I have to admit, I was a little bit shocked, and I just thought, oh, I'm not going to go any further down that road. It just doesn't suit me at the moment. But, you know, flesh is really, it's not that different these days. It's everywhere.
I mean, all over the place.
Following me.
I am following you. Yeah.
He's still thinking about gold hot pants.
Yes,
Now, what about the last time you came on the programme, I talked to people always do about your relationships, and you've got a new fella now. You've got a Frenchman. Are Frenchmen better than English guys or Australian guys?
How could I possibly say that on
Well, I
the
mean,
show?
I don't know. I mean, I mean, but no, a serious question. I mean, there's a different culture, of course, involved. You spend some time in France.
Yeah, and that makes it very interesting. You know, you can do very mundane, ordinary things, and it's the way I view him doing something normal, or he would see me doing something normal, is suddenly quite exotic or amusing or frustrating. It can be both things. Mm-hmm. So there's definitely that part to our relationship, but I couldn't possibly say that French are better or worse, but he is wonderful. Yeah.
Does he have a sexy French accent? Does he speak like that?
Yeah.
No, he's Welsh, Michael.
Oh, sorry. I wish I could do accents.
So it's just the whole thing's a sham. He's got a, I guess it's mainly French, but Spanish as well.
Yeah. And what about, I mean, the last time we talked about getting married, you said you want to get married. But would you want to get married? I mean, as opposed to living together, like your mum and dad, would you want that kind of commitment?
Well, I often, and for quite a number of years, I've looked at my parents, and they're still together, they're still in love, they miss each other madly, they hold hands and canoodle, and they're just the best example for me. And it slightly pains me to think that I will never have that. My chance for that has already gone.
Why?
Because I'm 35. They did that when they were 22. So to start a family that young and to be together for such a long time. So I've come to terms with that, but I would still like definitely to have something secure and wonderful. And I even when girlfriends speak to me and they're in serious relationships, married, with children, and I say, well, that must be great, but I really, until I experience that myself, I won't know. I know it will be the best thing I've ever done.
Well, children, this includes children, yeah. But it's leaving a bit late, aren't you? 35.
I'm aware of this, Michael.
My mother was 47 when she had me. Yeah, she didn't even know she was pregnant. Seriously.
Was not. See, Parky does this. He cuts to the chase in the nicest way.
I know.
Don't you just?
I do.
Was not too late, but obviously a woman of my age can't help but think about those things. And I'm asked about it all the time, and I never have really a straight answer for anyone who asks me that, because I don't know yet. We'll see if and when it happens.
Well, I mean, if you looked at it from another, I mean, that's what you've just talked about, is one of the sacrifices you made for your career. And the other thing, too, that was interesting, I mean, you had, since last we met, the reports you were having a breakdown as well. What was the truth of that?
That was a long time ago, I think. It's probably one of many, by the way, reported many. Yes. But I did, after Fever, I escaped on a road trip with my parents, poor mum and dad, trying to get away on this road trip with another couple of their friends. And I call up at the last minute saying, just don't want you to panic, but could I come on your holiday with you? So it was the best thing. I went straight to Australia, did this 10-day road trip from Broome on the far northwest of Australia.
Right on the top.
Red dirt, nothing, staying in these kind of dingy places. Yeah. And sometimes I had to have my meal slipped under the door because we just didn't want anyone to know I was there. It was kind of like a sport to try and find me at that time. But I slept in these rooms with my mum and dad. Mum and I have matching pyjamas on. And I just thought, this is incredible to be, what was I then, 33, on a road trip with my mum and dad, and to be that close with them. And they're just always there.
Yes.
And I think that is the most important thing and the most supportive thing I have in my life and my career is them.
Now listen, what's this?
Don't you recognise her?
It's a Kylie doll.
Yeah, actually she's in her little performance costume there.
So, I mean, you often were called a Barbie doll, a walking Barbie doll, so you got your own Kylie doll now.
Yeah, finally, after all this time.
Why do you have to wait so long?
I don't know. Actually, I kind of do know.
What?
I just thought, oh God, if you get a doll, that's so embarrassing.
Yeah,
and that's going to be the
dolls,
end.
you know.
Do they?
Well, they were 6 foot, but you bought them in certain shops. I wouldn't go into.
We could give her a good Lily Savage.
She's fabulous. Look at her.
Give her a
She is a bit. Clip that up. Back home.
Bit of a back home, yeah.
And listen, I'm only going to ask you this because I know you've designed your own sort of underwear now, your own line of underwear.
I have a line of lingerie.
Your ladies' lingerie. I mean, who do you design it for? For men or for women?
For women.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Oh. Sounds good.
A lot of men like it, though.
They do?
Yeah.
Do you do much research into what men like in underwear?
Not so much the men, but from, well, I guess through the women, yeah. Whoever's got some LK lingerie, if I know them, they got them for free, so they've got to answer a few questions. How was it fit? Which one did you like? And often they'll say, oh, my boyfriend liked this one.
Well, what kind of lingerie does Lily like?
Split crotch, black. With the tassel hanging off the bum. Something that's got off easy.
And in fact, what about when you look toward the future? What about acting? Because that's where you started when all said and done.
Yeah, it creeps into my mind sometimes, and.
But might you go back there to acting? Do you think?
I think I feel that I will one day. Not in a hurry. I've learned my lessons to rush in to do something just because it could be fun, or I might learn something, but they're total turkeys.
And the other thing that I read about, which interested me, was that because I love the standards, I love sort of that kind of pop music. Was you once said that you might record an album of standards?
I'd love to.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I mean, look now at them; they're all doing it. Rod Stewart and all those people.
Well, I did a performance in Paris a year ago, actually. For a designer, Chloe. They were having their 50th anniversary, and it was at Café de Flore, which is this wonderful cafe with a lot of history to it. They didn't specify what they wanted me to do, but I just thought in that environment, I'd love to perform some jazz, and I'd never done it before. I didn't really know how I would go, but it was the most liberating experience. Really? I loved it. Having done a big tour where everything's activated and there's room to maneuver, but you're pretty much set in what you have to do for those 2 hours every night. This was just 4 tracks, did Peel Me a Grape, My Baby Just Cares for Me, Fever, and Hey Big Spender. And I had the band all crammed in and Guy with his percussion there, and really, it was like surfing because you've got a standard, which I thought of as the wave. So you've got to learn how much you can veer from a standard. But I've got to make the songs mine. I mean, I can't sing the way those greats would have sung the songs, but if you inject it with your personality and flavour, you can do incredible things with it.
When you're next to the show, which I won't be too long, will you do those for us? Or one of them for us?
I would love to, with your band.
Absolutely, that band. Yeah.
It's a deal.
It's a deal?
Yeah,
all right.
Absolutely.
You're on. I look forward to that very much indeed. Well, I think we just sparked you into another hit record and probably another career as a chanteuse.
Less dancing, less movement for my old age.
Okay. Kylie Minogue, thank you very much indeed. Kylie Minogue. Another song from Kylie later on in the programme, but more music now from a young man bursting with talent. He's a pianist, singer, songwriter with, I believe, a huge future. He's at London's Queen Elizabeth Hall this coming Monday, and my advice is go see. Singing a Fats Waller classic, welcome please, Peter Cincotti.
To talk with all by myself, no one to walk with, but I'm happy on the shelf. Ain't misbehaving, I'm saving my love for you. I know for certain the one I love. I'm through with flirting, it's you that I'm dreaming of. Ain't misbehaving, saving my love for you. Like Jack Horner in the corner, don't go nowhere, what do I care? Your kisses are worth waiting for. Believe me, don't stay out late, there's no place to go. Home about 8, just me and my radio. Ain't misbehaving, saving my love for you. Jack Horner in the corner. Don't go nowhere, what do I care? Your kisses are worth waiting for. Believe me, don't stay out late, no place to go. Home about 8, just me and my radio. Ain't misbehaving, saving my love for you. All my love.
All right, Peter Cincotti, that was. Now, my final guest is the miner's son from Newcastle, who's become one of our most popular and successful actors on television. His journey's taken him from Casualty through to Soldier Soldier, to Reckless, to Touching Evil, to the present series of Wire in the Blood.
Tony, I wanted you to help me question a traumatised witness.
What if he's not a witness? Separate beds. His is unmade. I think their marriage is on the rocks and she's taking the children.
No, he's got an alibi, Tony. We've confirmed his movements.
Check again. I think after the attack, he put her in the bed. He was ashamed, he was undoing. He moved the rug to hide the blood, then changed his mind because it had to be visible from the hallway when he came in, so he could stop the children seeing what he'd done. This is all about the children. I don't think there was an intruder.
Ladies and gentlemen, Robson Green. She left the little thing on the...
Oh, that's my tissue.
That's your tissue, there you go. How are you?
I'm all right.
Excellent.
Just got back from Oz.
You enjoy it?
Oh, yes. Well, you know.
Can't
like
say much other than that.
Absolutely. Well, you know, I don't take anything for granted. You know, it was great and went to New Zealand, and I've been to America before that promoting Wire in the Blood, so it's a big hit out there. So
Because it's your production company. You own the show, don't you?
Yeah.
That's right. You're, you like that kind of control, don't you?
Well, for a long time, I was tied to a network, and you'll not mind me saying this, sometimes I had to pick the best of a bad bunch in scripts, and I was very guilty of doing a lot of stuff that was light and fluffy, you know, A almost to B. And I wanted to do something that had intelligence to it, something that was intellectual, was stimulating. It was a good story.
So what was it you saw in the character Tony Hill that appealed to you?
A socially inept, bumbling, clumsy, scientific genius.
Really?
A guy who said, you know, we're all capable of a destructive act, given the right chaotic circumstances. Now, what I mean by that, and I have a lovely boy now, you know, if someone was going to harm someone you loved and the means were there to defend that loved one, you'd use them. And I think that's a very interesting notion, and I think that's what makes the show intelligent, and I think that's what makes it accessible.
And what about the research that you did into this character? Because you actually interviewed, you researched a real-life cracker.
That's right. I met a lovely guy called Julian Boone. I'm not a method actor. I think, you know, there is a fine line. I'm not a clinical psychologist. It's all make-believe. You know, I performed bowel resections in Reckless. You know, I wasn't a surgeon. But with Julian, he said the most wonderful thing, and I say it all the time, but it was the most profound thing. It was the end for the show, which was never underestimate it when your grandmother said, I always knew he'd grow up to be a bad one. Because she was probably right, he said, because Gran saw the baby being born, a teenager growing up, and wasn't surprised that they ended up in prison. And what Gran didn't do was intervene, and what Tony is saying, let's intervene, let's think about this. And he also gave me in like Fred West. Fred West had neighbours. Fred West was not caught by clinical psychology. He was caught by a cop that had half an idea something wasn't quite right. Peter Sutcliffe was interviewed 4 times before he was put behind bars. Julian said if he had been in on that case, he would have spotted behaviour that he would have helped the police with, and maybe we could have tackled it sooner.
Like what? What would you have spotted?
Well, behaviour and answering questions and creating information, knowing when someone is lying, getting the demographic on the guy, getting the history, and just the childhood and everything like that. But he also came up with this terrifying notion, which is now possibly fact, that we're born angry. We have these terrible genes. Oh, watch yourselves. I knew it. I mean, one would say, by the eyes, you know. But it's not. It's
there's an angry gene.
An angry gene, but and it's hence the title "Wire in the Blood." You know, it's a term that they use, a kink in the genetic makeup. We spot like destructive behaviour at an early stage.
It's interesting your job, isn't it? Because when you talk about this guy who observes people and draws conclusions from that and learns lessons, this is what an actor does, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
That's what you watch all the time.
Absolutely. Well, when I met Julian, and he won't mind me saying this, Julian Boone, this is a real cracker. Beautiful, you know, revered Don, but turns up on the bus. Thought it was quite quirky. Has a long coat on, never takes off. So maybe he's just not settled in where he wants to leave all the time, and carried his life in a polythene bag. So I stole all those, and he has this amazing duality in his character. And I thought and observed that, and that's all I took, and then I put my own angle on it, which was a bit boffiny.
Talking about you and organising your life and things, you've now got this theatre group, haven't you, up in the northeast? That you started.
Yeah, what Coastal did, I mean, when I started out...
Coastal's your production company.
Coastal Productions make Wire in the Blood, and we produced 32 hours of drama for ITV. But when I was a young lad, I was a member of a lovely drama group in Backworth, a little pit village in the northeast, and I was fortunate enough to work alongside people who'd worked and survived in the industry long term, and learnt a lot from them, and understood, and was an avenue into the business. Because a question I'm asked all the time, and I'm sure you guys are, is where did you start? How did you get into this thing? So what Coastal's done, we've created a youth theatre, and we have 200 members. When we announced that we were going to have this youth theatre, nearly 2,000 kids and older people turned up.
You had to choose 200 from that.
You had to choose 200. So, you know, and you get the pushy parent with the kids dressed up in the white dress and the tap shoes, give you a hand. But, no, and, you know, you just spot the gems in that. And it's not a fame school. No. It's a confidence-building thing. And we try and encourage people to be interested in lighting and sound and makeup. Sure. And we're very pleased to say that a lot of those kids have gone on to work in, and I don't mean that in a patronising way, but have gone on to work in full-time in the industry and really enjoying it and surviving. And
you have adults there too, don't you?
Yes, we have the live wires.
The live wires.
Over 55s. If you're interested. Yeah. And there's a lovely story, because they do ask me, you know, can you give me any tips on what it's like to do acting, and, you know, can you give me any advice? And the one thing I always say, I can't teach acting. You can't teach anyone to act, I believe. You can't prepare them for this feeling of like a first night in the theatre where you are about to die inside. You've just got to get through that, you know. And this lady was doing a monologue. It was a talking head piece to the audience, and she was doing really well until a water tank above her head burst and just flooded the whole stage. Can't help you with that one, love. You're on your own, kid. But no, I mean, it's important, because my mother and father and a lot of people who I respect always said it's very important to invest in people. I think it's a really good thing to do, because the rewards, what we have in life, of course there's financial rewards, investment in anybody, but there are emotional rewards. Because, you know, I'm now looking back on a life, what I'm trying to say here, and instead of a career. Yeah.
But would that kind of disaster, or what's the worst things ever happened to you on stage?
It wasn't, well, I've died many a time on stage, but I played many parts. I played Jesus at York Theatre Royal, and it was a disaster from the word go, but on the opening night, Victor Lewis Smith, I don't know Victor Lewis Smith, didn't understand it. He was there on the opening night, and his crit went, Robson Green plays Jesus. I don't know what Robson Green was playing at, but it was hard to believe anyone would follow him across the stage, let alone Israel. But what happened that night was I fell off the cross. Yeah, it was... history was changed, yeah. It was all 13th century rhyming couplets, and there's this beautiful, I mean, it was a beautiful script. I just murdered it. But it was, and they on the cross going, Father, thou what's well I never meant to miss, and word nor work I never were worth this. Well, the thing was, because there was 300 in the cast, thing was, they kept acting. Saying, is there a doctor in the house? We're losing the scene. But it was an experience.
But going back to that business, that proposition you put of giving people the chance, young people, to fulfill their ambitions. Something that we were talking about earlier on, this idea now of the way to the top is through celebrity, through television, through these pop idols or wherever it might be. And that's a sort of a strange, I think it's a rather sinister development in my view. I mean, it raises false hopes. That's not how you do it. You see, you three, it's interesting. All of you got one thing in common. You all served an apprenticeship. You did, and you did. And the notion that somehow you can short-circuit that is what I think is sinister. And misleading.
But I think we have to be careful because
Why?
But I think it's a disease. I think reality television is a disease. Bottom line, I think stories are the way forward. We always loved stories as a kid, and we can learn from stories. I think what we see in reality television are groups of people in desperate need of approval, wanting to be liked. But bottom line, they are cheap. The cast costs nothing, you know. But programmers will love that because why it takes. Well, it costs about what, 620,000 an ep to shoot. Now a programmer can get something for the 10th of the price and get the same advertising revenue. So we have a business dichotomy here. But bottom line, I think people have to be brave enough because I think we're a country that we should pride ourselves on our writers. On our writing, my goodness, this is where Shakespeare's from, and I think we're better than that.
What's your feeling, Kylie, about these pop
same.
idols thing? I mean, what do you think?
Well, I have to admit I was addicted to the first series.
I
The first one, I had people tape it for me. And why is someone laughing? Probably because you did as well, right?
It was in it.
And well, now there's so much of it, and to a degree, I find it interesting that it is about people. I find it a bit kind of cringeworthy, but you want to see a bit more.
Yes.
I think, I've had the pleasure of working with Simon Cowell. I mean, he is an interesting guy.
Well, he
a lot
played
of
a big
people,
part in your life, didn't he?
it was a massive part.
When you were a pop star.
with the music and
That's
stuff.
right.
Yeah, it was a very interesting time. But the thing about Simon Cowell is the industry takes him very seriously.
Yeah, sure.
He is very good at what he does. He makes millions of pounds for record companies. That's why he's there. The one thing about Pop Idol was, like yourself, I watched the first. I thought the format was very interesting, very entertaining. But now they've killed it, and they're not reinventing themselves, and that's, I think, where the creativity dies. I'm a Celebrity, get me out of here. I mean, John Lyndon was compelling viewing, but the thing is, why people watch that, I thought, was Ant and Dec. I think these guys are incredibly talented. They're lovely to watch. Beautiful relationship. I love them to death. I think they're really talented. But there is this overdose, this dilution of dirge and dumbing down, and it's a dangerous time.
It's also that thing about making a spectacle of people. I feel I back away from that kind of demeaning of people, and people watching and thinking it's funny. I think it's funny to see somebody, be made to eat snails and things. I think it's demeaning.
But it's also, we have to give these people a slap as well, because, it's what's worrying is people will do anything to be famous. I mean, they will.
Look, they are dressed up as a prostitute for 20 years.
It's one the three-way round. They're all going.
Well, what you have to say, because it is voluntary in the end, nobody's still been...
Absolutely.
Now, you mentioned there Simon Cowell, and of course, he played a very important part in your life, because he introduced you to your missus, and then you had the child, and you've got this...
No, I stole my missus from him.
You stole your missus? But I mean, you've got this little boy now, and
Taylor, yeah.
And is he showing signs of being an actor?
The nativity was interesting. Well, last year I said, "What are you doing? What part are you playing?" He says, "I'm a star." I says, "I know you are." He said, "No, I'm a star."
I'm a star.
He wasn't the star, but he was the star in the sky. But this year he was shepherd number 4. And Joseph's giving his speech, and he starts prodding Joseph, and he's swinging a sheep around his head, and then all of a sudden he goes, "Way! Way!" I was just completely, where's that from? And you can see people going, "Oh, he's not right." No, but it's lovely, and kids surprise you every time, and it's like something I've realised, should have realised, but didn't until you have children, that sometimes we seek happiness in our aspirations, in fame, but actually sometimes it's staring you right in the face.
Yes.
And he's a beautiful boy.
Yeah.
I love him to death.
Good. You're 40 now. You're coming up 40.
Thanks very much.
Yeah.
You're supposed to say, how old are you?
No, no.
And then I say, yes.
We cut to the chase, don't we?
Yes.
Not many.
But age is now a relative thing, isn't it? I mean,
It is, but it's like I remember Billy Connolly being on your show, and you start making these very strange sounds as you get older, What you do, it's just like...
Oh, that's right.
And you break wind when you run. It's terrible, Kylie. I'm 48, so I've got a daughter of 30.
You'll have that,
Yeah,
because you rediscovered your daughter in a sense, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Because
She's just got engaged.
Has she?
Oh, yeah, I'm delighted.
Yeah.
And she's met a really nice, ordinary Liverpool plumber, thank God. You know what I mean? Because Liverpool plumbers make a fortune, as we all know. And he's a really nice lad, and I'm delighted for her. I just said, don't have kids, because I can't bear Grandad in the paper. I mean, imagine... Oh, my
You
God.
don't know what you're missing, I have to tell you. You don't know what you're missing.
Oh, well, I will. As soon as I say it, I'll nick it off her. So you're not having it back. But it's just being called a Grandad, and that's it, I'm finished then. Grandad.
And just as a final thing with you, Robson, I mean, apart from all those, I did read also, too, that you once upon a time in your career, you had a drag act.
Oh.
I was young, I needed the money.
That's what I said. Look what happened to me. Ended up in Black
What
Blank.
were the circumstances?
No. I was in a show called Scrap. Scrap by Sue Fruman, which was about a group of women who ran a scrapyard. And I had to go in the scrapyard and infiltrate their devious plan. And so I dressed up in a blonde wig and everything, and my dad left the theatre and all sorts.
Did he?
Well, you know, he turns
Yeah.
up with his minor friends,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
as soon as Son's on there and
Yeah.
dressed like, you can hear the tumbleweed.
Well, I kept me close with my family for years, never told them. They thought I was still in social services. And in the end, my sister came down to London, and I had a booking that night in a pub. Thought, I've got to tell her. I said, there's something I've got to tell you, Sheila. She went, what? I said, I work in a pub. She said, oh, behind the bar, love. I said, no, come down, and I'm there in half a yard of leopard skin with the platinum blonde wig, talking about my sex life and whippets and God knows what else. But they loved it. But I was freaked. I can't tell you, I felt like I was naked in Oxford Street. I thought, oh, my, what are they going to think, me Auntie Annie? Oh, no.
Yeah, it's terrible when we think about that.
Yeah. So what's coming up then? So Wire in the Blood, that's...
Wire in the Blood, we just... while I was
week.
in Oz, it was great. We just got the recommission of the 3rd series. And
Excellent.
I start on Monday a show called Christmas Lights. Beautiful story written by Jeff Pope and Bob Mills and myself and Mark Benton about two best friends who become enemies because they decorate the house with Christmas lights, and it turns into this Tom Sharp farce. And it's just a divine, life-affirming story.
OK. Well, Robson Green, thank you very much indeed. Robson Green. Well done. Now, Kylie, we've got another number from you.
Another number.
What are you going to do, my love? Tell me what it is.
Love at first sight.
Love at first sight.
So I shall depart.
Would you,
on,
Yes.
Kylie Minogue, or band awaits you? My thanks to Kylie, to Paul O'Grady, to Robson Green and Peter Cincotti. Next week, my guests are Patrick Stewart, Harry Connick Jr. and Lionel Richie. Until then, we say goodbye with Kylie. From all of us here, very good night. Good night.
This is a song you might know. Called Love at First Sight.
You do.